Okay, fine. Assalamu alaikum. So this is our first meeting. So as we discussed, we'll be scheduling a meeting, as I said. So the same sessions as I'm going to record the same thing. So we'll quickly talk about a couple of things. Like the first thing, we'll see the overview. So overview already I have shared the PDF about Islamophobia and other things. So you'll find more details on that. But again, I'll quickly walk through with some points and overview of those things, a little bit on that. And the next thing will probably the first 5-10 minutes I'll go with that, and then we'll see what we can do, what are the options we have, and what are the things we can do. And then again the plan. So how the plan is going to be, what we are going to do, and then probably the promotion plan, as I said, how it works. Again, finally, how it works. A little bit overview on how it works, but most likely in our next session, we'll see more in depth on the third or fourth things, a little bit more in depth. So first thing, like overview option, like we already discussed the overview of our, or the objective of our team is to spread the Islamic awareness. That's the first thing among the Muslims as well as the non-Muslims, like the teachings, and also to stand against the Islamophobia concept, which is being, anti-Islamic organizations constantly working on spreading some false information about the Islamophobia. You can refer the PDF. In that I have shared some more little bit details, like what media is doing with the Muslims and how they are labeling the Muslims as with the different names like terrorist, or there are many things. So mainly that is because the power of media in the current world is like there are many things, many sayings from people like make a lie big, so that it becomes it becomes a true, and people start believing it. Okay, so these are some of the options. Like even you'll see there are many books they have printed, there are many blogs they have created, and there are many YouTube videos they have played. Probably, like you can see some of the screenshots I have shared here. And even there is a belief, they say that in masajid and other things we have we have many arms, and like that, there are plenty of things. Okay, so like these are all the examples. These are the different names what they give, and even there are different comments, Facebook pages which works on this. Even there are film industry also spread a lot of things. Like recently, if you have seen most of the movies releases in India especially, you will see there is a lot of negativity of the Muslim characters. Of course, it was there earlier as well, but now it's been a little bit more again. And again, as I said, who promotes this? Most of the anti-Muslim organizations. So their agenda is simple. They want to destroy the Muslims, Islam, which is not possible. Of course, we know that. Okay, but that's their main agenda. But we are not. We have to fight back. That's what here we'll be doing. And even if you have seen some news on China as well, like detention centers, there are plenty of things. Like Quran has been banned there. Even the word halal. There are plenty of things going in China. Even the same what is happening in the Kashmir in India is again the same model of China what they are trying to apply here. And even there are many villages has been burned, Muslim areas, especially the Myanmar Rohingya place. You might have heard about this. But now everyone knows not bothered about those things, because these are all the past. Maybe it is happening still, but these are all the past. Now the current latest is like the things happening in India. Now we are more worried about that, especially because now it's a do or die situation for most of the Muslims, especially who want to lead the life in an Islamic way, especially for those people. So it's not a problem for any, most of the Muslims, to be frank, I have met many people, probably most of the Muslims who are educated and who are, wealthy. And for most of them, it's not a problem. But then for these people also, there is a problem if they want to lead the life in Islamic way. Again, if you are praying 5 times, and if you have a beard, and you follow the sunnahs, probably in that case, again, there is a problem for them. And the major problem is with the masajids, That's where, and the madrasas. That's the main problem, because it's not the problem of individuals. Like let me say, I'm not really worried about myself or my family, because alhamdulillah I'm in a safe place, and I know, how to survive, how to fight out, or mostly, if there is something happening, it's not going to happen to everyone. So they will be targeting the weak Muslim areas. Basically, that is something they will target. So they will not target any region which is most populated, and where you have mix of Muslims and Hindus. Probably in those regions, or the area where, if you are living in the middle of the city especially, then most likely you are not targeted. So simple thing, unless you are personally attacked based on something you do. Let's say if I'm doing some activity which goes against them, they may personally target my home or personally target me, unless that is the case. Okay. So apart from that, I don't see any reason. Okay, so you may have your own points, probably we'll discuss that uh, on this. So let me quickly, so the PDF, I have covered already a lot of things, so I don't need to go again in detail on that. Like how they work, means how they are spreading, we need to understand the plan first. So how they operate, or basically that is something. So if you remember, in the group, I have shared some videos on how the BJP generally they run some anti-IT cells. So if you have gone through with that video, probably you'll get a clear picture on how those things works. So personally, I do this. I do promotions of our own business on the Facebook or on the Twitter. You use social media a lot for promoting, so I have a better picture on that, because I do most of the business on that. So that's that's something what that's the reason I'll try to share my insights on this. Like there are plenty of things. There is a group. One example I'll show you. There is a group on Hyderabad shopping, and the name itself says it's a group which is a shopping group, right? That's what the name suggests. But if you check, there is a guy. So these are all the Hyderabad group shopping. So there is a guy, actually, this guy called Raghavendra. This guy, if you check his profile, probably no, this kind of guys are actually the employed guys who work on the sole agenda. Like if you see his page, you will see all anti-Islamic or supporting BGP, or promoting them, and spreading some hate messages. Probably you'll find plenty of those things, especially targeting one community like Muslims, because even if they show something violent, it will be by the Muslims on non-Muslims. Probably that's something what they share. Okay, so these guys, who they are again? So he can be an IT guy who is working, doing a job, also doing this. Maybe he's a big fan of their ideology, and you know the ideology already, or maybe he is a fully employed guy. So they have more than 2,000 people working. There's no 100% correct statistic, but as per the video claims, there are more than 200 to 2,000 to 20,000 people employed only on the IT cell, and they spend around 13,000 crores or 1,300 crores, probably somewhere around that amount every year. That's the budget what they spend on this. Okay, so what is the job? It's simple. Their job is to promote their agenda, and promote anti anti anti-Islamic elements, and also promote anti-political, means whatever the opposition political parties they don't expose, actually they create fake news. So their job is to simple create a fake news and spread that, and that is how the hatred is spreading in the today's world. And this is not a new thing. Again, it's not like a new thing. It's been running in US or in different countries. If you see many Muslims, many attack on Muslims and the massages, that is because of that. But the difference is, there you have another religion fighting against Islam, and here we have another ideology. That's the only difference. So now we are seeing it. Now even I'm seeing, because it is happening in our own place. That might be the reason I have figured out all these options. So actually, this group is a Hyderabad shopping group, but if you go and check these options, there are plenty. Even I reported. Even there are plenty of people reported here, like you can see. There are people who is relevant this post. Even I have commented on this. But if you check this group, there are more than around 2 lakhs. Probably there are members. If you check this group, there are more than, I don't know how where I can see this, but there are many people. So members, you'll see here, the members list. Around 2 lakhs members are there, like you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1,75,000 people, approximately around 2 lakhs members. And these guys are the admins. I reported them, but there's no response because they create these groups in the name of some other like marketing kind of thing, like social media or maybe shopping. Like this group is more on the shopping. So shopping works. It's not like the shopping is not going to happen, because if there's no shopping, there's no one will be a member of the group. Parallelly, they will be, they will be sharing some kind of anti-Islamic messages or anti-Muslim messages or violent messages, where the people, they will invoke, uh, they will, probably they post plenty of things. So whatever you see, you don't see them on the personal pages. Remember this, because personally, no one want to spoil their own relations with others, unless he is a completely a guy. Let's say unless he's like completely having a friends list which supports that. But mostly they create some duplicate accounts, maybe with another name, and use these things. Okay, so they create multiple pages. They create their own pages. They create their own groups. So there are more than hundreds of groups. Like even you have one group called I Support Modi. Even they have a name with a name called anti-government group, but actually it supports the government. Because when you say anti-government, means people will think that it is against the government, so everyone will join. But at the end, they promote the government in that. So it's like they have their own plans. So they have their own pages, they have groups, they have their own blogs, which on this, even there are many WhatsApp groups they maintain, and even they have their own Twitter accounts. And let's say if there are 2,000 people working roughly on this team, and everyone will have at least 10 to 20 fake accounts and 10 to 20 WhatsApp accounts, and they will initiate these messages, the fake messages, and then they will involve millions of people in that. Okay, so automatically millions are involved, because there are only 2,000 people who are hired to do this. Like even if you take any riots happens, so that is initiated by 50, 100 people who are paid, but at the back end there will be hundreds or thousands of people fighting in the back end. So this is the plan. So this is how they are spreading the hatred, especially against Muslims again. So against Muslim community in India, because their target is to make a specific Hindutva country. That's what their ideology. Since independence, it's nothing new. They have been working for more than 60 years for these things. It's not like they have started 5 years before, 10 years before. They are successful in the last 5-10 years. And what I have seen some some documentaries in that they say that this, when the India, Pakistan, when they want a separate country, like Jinnah requested for separate country, even these guys, they have requested for separate Hindu nation. But the concept of the Mahatma Gandhi and the Nehru, the ministers at that time, they think that Muslims and Hindus, all the religions can survive in one country. That is what their ideology, and that's what the India is right now. But they completely was against this ideology. They want a separate. So Jinnah is a firm believer that two nation ideology is not going to work. Means separate same nation for multiple, especially for Hindus and Muslims. But at that time there's no enough power with them, so they couldn't do anything at that point of time. But they started working from that time. So it started from that time. Now they are successful because they have, trust me, there are, if you take a simple RSS agenda, like these guys, they can group easily in especially in recently they done some rally in Telangana. They have marched around 4,000 people on the road with lathis and other things on the road, easily in 4,000 people throughout the state. Means every state, if you count 4,000 people, that goes in millions, means they can make this. And these people are not only working physically, they are also working the back end, like posting these messages. So these are all, so everyone is doing, it's not like they are taking the responsibility uh, of doing this, every individual. But unfortunately uh, we are not, even though we are right, but we are not doing at that point. Okay. So there are many things they do. How to identify, as I said, you'll find this, how to identify these individuals. You'll find their post in different groups you join, because normally I join hundreds of groups. I have joined, probably I'll get those updates normally on that. And if you see, they will have their list photos, and they promote their agenda. They spread Islam, especially, you cannot comment anything. Even if you comment, they will label you simply like a terrorist, direct label, without any proof. And they don't talk on the point. So how to stop? Probably there's no way you can stop them. So that it's not like we are going to fight against them. Basically, the problem is, if they abuse, if you abuse, again, there's no point. So this will go on, increase the hatred. That's something not a solution. That's something not what we have been taught. If you follow the Islamic teaching, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the teachings, so you cannot abuse them, you cannot fight them, you cannot go and comment and abuse them again in the back end. So that's something you cannot. That will again increase the hatred, increase, the problems again. So what we can do? Now the question is, okay, we are not going to abuse, we are not going to fight. Then what we are going to do is, we are not here to abuse or fight against them. So if you are start promoting, now one option is, like, you can say, okay, so let me just quickly take a pause. We'll go through with some questions in between up to this point. I'll cover up what we can do. What are the different options we have? Two options I've listed. Of course, we'll go with the second option. That's what I have figured out. But if you have any other options, we'll see. Just and then we'll see how the promotion works. Okay, so you can unmute yourself and you can just quickly.
How do we identify these guys? Like, how you found all these, links like Raghavendra Rao? How you find this guy?
See, normally if you check your page, if I just check the normal pages you follow, you see a lot of messages. Now there are multiple options. If you follow the specific pages, you'll automatically find. But if you go through these pages, like, there are plenty of groups you'll see. Most of the groups I join. If you see, there will be, even you'll find in your friend list, like many of them I have blocked. If you check my friends list, like one example I can say, if you post anything, first thing you need to identify in your friends list. That's the first thing. Like when this started 2 months before, I posted some anti-national, kind of, not anti-national, probably anti-BJP, anti-government kind of activities, like against the CAA. Currently, my page also the same thing. And you start posting some updates on against these things, like how it's going to impact. Like, I'm not creating anything new. I'm just sharing the opinion of the experts. Like, there are many journalists or many people who are against this movement, and they started sharing them, or I started copying their text and started pasting them as well, or making some slight changes. Now what happens is, now these guys, they will simply come up with their own comments. So many don't come, because many don't come depends upon your relation with them. So they started coming up with a comment, two type of comments. One is, many did not abuse, because maybe, maybe they have work relation with me, or maybe they don't want to get involved. So many started commenting and saying that, you don't need to worry, you don't need to uh, worry about this. This is not going to impact the Muslims. This is not going to impact you. You are safe, like that. There are plenty of things. But if you see any page or any post which is spreading, like this guy, if you check his page, if you see any one post, then if you check his page, now normally you will find less photos, His personal photos will be less. You will not see much personal photos. That is one thing. And if you see the post, most of the post will be against that. And they don't use their own identity, personal identity, most of the time. Like you don't see any information like what he do. If you see here, there's nothing, like where he works, or like generally if you check any Facebook profile, you'll see a lot of information. Like if you check my profile, you'll see my past company where I work, the company which I run, the groups which I join, but you don't find much information on those things. So that is one way you can figure out, but of course we cannot do anything against them. You cannot post to any Facebook also. You cannot do anything. Even if you report to the Facebook, they will not do anything. Even if you report the admin also, that's not going to happen. Okay. So this is how you identify. At the end, we are not going to take any action against them. We cannot do anything on the social media. But as I said, we have a plan. We'll see that. Okay. Any questions from others?
Okay, got it. No, sir.
Okay. So let's go ahead. Probably the next thing we'll quickly see. The next thing, okay. So what we can do now? There are two options. As I said again, the first option is we can create. We can go ahead and start exposing them. We can start spread awareness. This is one thing many people are doing today. Many people are doing, but is that going to work? Is it going to create more differences again? Because I have read some of the ulama quotes, like it's not correct to go against the government, which you unless they deviate you from the right path, unless they stop you from worshipping, unless they stop you from following the Islamic options. So currently we are not in that bad situation. Okay. So if you try to expose them, they will expose they will create more news, and they will create like more fake news, and they target you, target the group, target many things. So exposing is something no one will trust. If you post, let's say if someone let's simple example, if you talk about GDP, if you talk about the notes which they have banned, and there are plenty of parameters, like if you talk about any kind of Pulwama attack which happened, from where the inside the security, inside the military base, how the uh, you know that RDX, whatever it is, I don't know the name, but how it comes, if you ask them, they don't have any answer, which means they blindly follow, and there is no way you can expose them, there is no way you can awareness them, because they have closed their ears and eyes, and they are simply following blindly. So you cannot do anything. So that's the problem. They keep on mocking you, they keep on attacking you, the more you start exposing them. Like many journalists are doing, many things happening now. They attack you, like example NDTV. There are special cases on them, because they are exposing these guys, and there are very less people who are exposing them, but still there is no result. Is there any result, any change you see? Probably before 1 year or a year, I don't see any change, because people will come to know the truth, but still you can't do anything at the end. So probably this is not our agenda, because we are not running any kind of political activity where, like, you say I belong to a Muslim party, let's say XYZ, and I'm exposing these guys. So there's no difference between them and us. Indirectly we are abusing them, so it's kind of ghibat. So kind of ghibat as well. Okay. So maybe this is something what not our in our plans. Okay. But at least you have to share the truth, whatever you can do. So we are not going to stop that. I'm not saying don't share the truth, what is happening around the world. So you create awareness. That's something we are not denying that. Okay. So but our agenda, that's something you do, we can do it on a different basis, because our objective is here to promote the correct teaching of Islam. So we don't need to promote Islam, we know, but we need to show the real Islam teachings. Because there are three types of people here. Normally there are completely, they are against the strong, They are against completely like Islam completely. They hate, we can say, there are plenty of people, they don't even prefer to talk to you. And there are some people who are in between, like neutral kind of thing. They are here and there, and there are, there are some people who are not against, not in support. Means, so there are different types of people, but the majority of these people is more, and the people who are having this ideology are very less. But these people are creating a big difference here. Why? Because roughly you can say, maybe there are a few thousands of people working on these things, but they are very strong because they are working collectively. That's the problem. But we are not completely doing that. I'm not saying, there are many hundreds of pages are there, Islamic pages, Islamic groups, many scholars on the internet. They are doing their job. We also need to our job, what we can do. Okay, so our context is, we'll be focusing on this part a little bit later, because this point I need multiple opinions on this, because this is what opinion what I have shared. But maybe I'm wrong, I'm right, we'll see in accordance to that. But our intention here is to promote the Islam in the right context. Okay, so uh, it's like promoting the
Uh,
Islam.
do
Yeah,
we have the list of, the groups names, what they are running with, like
yeah,
Facebook group,
we can do
so
that.
that we can actually go to
Yeah,
them and
yeah,
yeah,
we'll do that. We'll make a list of those groups, and we'll attack in that groups itself. That's something
yeah,
we'll do. Okay, so
yeah.
we have to do that. Okay, so the
So
same
in that
groups.
case, do we need to hide ourselves, like by creating a profile, a separate
That's
profile, kind of
Yeah, that's better.
hiding
You
ourselves?
create a separate identity, separate profile.
Yeah.
Of course, we cannot create a fake. We cannot say fake. It's a duplicate, because we are just using our surname or middle name, whatever the name, and
Hmm.
then we are not going to lie. But we use a duplicate profile with some name, and we'll make some friends, and we'll do that. That's a plan which I'll be covering in the what is the plan
Okay.
next step. I think
Cool. Cool. Yeah.
will be coming in that. Okay, so here our context here is like promoting the Islam and showing the right teachings of the Islam. Three things, one thing, we have to tell that Islam is a piece of, the religion of peace, humanity, or again, it is a way of life you live. These are the things. That's what the Islam is. And there are plenty of points. I don't remember. I have just listed three right now, but there are plenty. If you just go on, make a list, there is a plenty. So we'll show them that Islam, this is what we have to do. That's the first thing. And the next thing is, most of the non-Muslims, they should know who is your creator, and who runs this universe, and who gives you life and death. These are all things you should know, because they are completely blank on this part. They know that they will die in one day, but they don't know what happens, or how they were created, how the universe started. So they have just a blank ideology on this. And especially this, mostly in most of the English countries, they have this blank ideology, because they were in search of truth. Like, personally, I have few students who ask me, who is Allah. Even though he is not a Muslim, he's curious to learn these things. So so what we see around is not exactly the same. What you see around in India, maybe the hatred, that's not the same what I have felt. And the next thing, our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, his life, he's a role model for us, and he's the best person in the world. Okay, even the kuffar have what the opinion they have about him, even though they didn't accept Islam, but they have the best character. There are plenty of things. If you just go and make a list. Now, these are the three main topics which we can initiate to promote the right context of Islam, especially in these groups where they are promoting the hatred. Okay, so personally you may be targeted, personally you may be commented. Of course that will happen, but at the same time we'll come up with multiple references, so that we'll try to mock them. See, when we are comment, let's say simple example, if you are making one post, and maybe there are thousands of views in a group, and maybe there are 10 people who are mocking you. Of course 10 to 20 will mock you. So it's not about those 10 people. These, they will never accept these things. But we are more worried about the remaining 990 people. Okay, so they are silently listening this, reading this, and maybe there are few accepting these things. Okay, so who knows? So because normally when we create the post, we are more concerned about this part, but we are not really worried because this is something at the back end we don't see. So we don't know what is happening in the back end. So the remaining 990 people is our point. So at the end, when you comment, like simply posting and then leaving, uh, and when someone mocks, we'll try to answer him in a right way, in a polite way. We don't abuse him like he do. And finally, if he's keep on abusing means, we just say one thing like, okay, this shows what your religion teaches you. That's it. That's the final answer. When you stop this thing with a final full stop, then that will create, and then you stop. You don't need to comment and follow up those things. Then automatically the remaining 990 people will have an impact. Okay, so we are not bothered. Maybe one or two may accept these things. If even if one accepts, that is enough. One post, if there is a one guy accepting these things or following these things, that is sufficient for us. Okay, so because normally the concept how it works in the social networking is, the more you have likes, the more you have comments, we are more worried on that part, because that is kind of show off. And many people, if they don't get likes, they don't get the comments, they are more worried. That's how the social media has influenced many people. So now we have to remove that concept, because normally we, even if you are feeling the same way, then that is a problem here. So our focus is on this part, and anyone is accepting that, anyone is changing, that is enough. So our job is done. Okay, so that's how it works. We'll talk more on this. These are the three main concepts we'll focus on, is on non-Muslims, especially in those groups, the common groups. We'll make a list of those groups and we'll join those groups. We'll make those list of groups and join those groups. And individually, someone post, and automatically the other team. Let's say we have team of 50 people. Of course, many people are passive right now. But let's say if you have 50 people, one post, the remaining 49 will be following that post, and they are commenting in a different way or guiding the people in a right way, 49 people. So automatically, if there are 10 people who are paid people who are going against this, so we have 49 people attacking these guys. So at the end, we will, what we can say, we can override these people easily if we have this kind of option. So many people don't comment. Like, let's say if I post something on one topic, and many people fear, let's say if I just post one thing like shirk, no, many people, like, just like if I post a picture of a graveyard and someone is uh, doing sajda over there, so if I put this is haram, this is not accepted, so many people agree on this point, but they don't support, or they don't comment, to just the fear, maybe they are working in a company, they don't want to break the relations with other Muslims or other people or other Hindus. So this is the problem. So when you go with a duplicate profile, then this problem will be solved. Means you don't need to really worry or think much about those things at the end. Okay, so this is something happening. I'm not saying many people are commenting, many people are doing, but when you have hundreds of people supporting that right cause, then that will create a huge impact. Okay, so these are the three things we'll focus first. Any questions on this? This is for especially for non-Muslims. We'll make a plan how to do a little bit later. Plan I'm not discussing, just I'm giving an idea.
No, no questions from my
Okay.
side.
Okay, fine.
Yes, sir, no
So
questions.
okay, fine. So just mute yourself. So how the plan works, we'll see. Because again, we need to collect some information on this. So I'll quickly wind up. I think it's enough, or if you want, we can spend some more time for next half an hour if you want. But let me quickly um, see what is a plan, like how the IT team is going to work. So we'll be working in two teams. One is working on non-Muslims, and one team will be working on Muslims. So we'll be working on two agendas. One is for the non-Muslims. For the non-Muslims, as I said, we'll be showing you them the Islam, the religion of peace, and then who is your creator. So Allah is your creator and he runs this universe. Like plenty of things about Allah, there are plenty of things you need to show them so that they can start thinking about it. So at the end, Allah gives them, guide them. So our job is just to convey the message. So we cannot expect or force anyone. Okay. So our job is just to convey the message. So at the end we have to think that. And finally, our prophet. So Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, what is his character? There are plenty of things you can show of the best man in the world. So his life, there are plenty of things. So we'll try to make the notes on that. And for Muslims, the major topic will be focusing on shirk. This is the root for all problems, what I feel, because that's at then many people say why Muslim countries are being attacked, like in Syria, like in Iraq. Why only Muslim people are targeted? So even when you speak to some ulama, what they say is, I have listened to some of the ulama. They say that whatever the azab or trials, again for non-believers or most of the Muslims who don't follow the Islamic teachings, for them it is obviously an azab because they are more worried about that part. Of course, for a believer, strong believer, it is like trial, azmaish, probably. So this is something only for the Muslims, because for most of the non-Muslims, what they say is, so they are reserved. They are reserved for hell. Hell is reserved for them, so we don't need to worry. So they will get everything what they want here only. So that's what the ulma says regarding this, because many people ask this, like, why only in the Facebook comments, especially, they say, why only it is happening in Iraq, why it is happening only in Syria, why Pakistan, why Muslim countries are in problems, why not non-Muslim problems? When you ask the ulma, they say this answer that, whatever the trials, whatever the azab is only for the Muslims. So in the case of small azab, so that we can come into the right path. Of course, the trials, the azmaish is to ensure that we make our faith, we become more stronger in faith, and also it will clear your sins, clean all your sins, especially when you are tried. So obviously, by till that you will face this trial. So it's not like new. So you have to face these trials till your death, obviously. So there is no deny on that. So that will continue till your death. Okay. And for the non-Muslim believers, as I said, it is reserved. So that's something we should know. And with the help of some reference, if we can quote these things with our Muslim brothers also, that will help them to understand that they feel that they are happily living in a US, Canada, without following proper Islam, and they call themselves as a modern Muslims, and they say no need to follow the Sunnah. It's Sunnah, not compulsory, like having a beard, your pant above the ankle. There are plenty of things, wearing hijab. You'll find plenty of things. These things, they say themselves as a modern Muslims, and then they don't follow, and they are happy. They say they are happy because of that. So they should also think the same thing. It might be something what they get, the happiness. Is it only here or there? So we need to create awareness among them as well. So probably that's the plan we'll do. So meantime, finally I'll conclude this. The first thing what I want you to do is you create one duplicate Facebook account. Again, duplicate means use your middle name, surname, which hides your complete identity, and just provide limited information on that. Again, don't lie. Again, that's something I don't suggest. That's something you should never do. So at the end, those things. So create these things and make a list of groups. When you're searching, if you can make a list of groups like which are running anti-Islamic groups, or you can also make a list of groups which are common groups, like I said, shopping groups or real estate groups. There are plenty of groups where you have millions of people in that. So we can, of course, they will not allow you to post any Islamic kind of context, but as long as they're allowing, we can convey the message, right? So even most of the IT groups also, they don't allow, but they have many Muslim groups, especially for Muslims. There are plenty of Muslim groups. I have listed 70 plus Muslim groups already. I have a list of that. So we'll be using that list and we'll join these groups initially. And later on, we'll create one page and we'll work on page is something, there are a lot of options we need to do. We'll try to create one page and a Twitter account. Probably if you can create one Twitter account also, that is good. One duplicate Twitter account you just create and make some friends around. Probably that's something you can, or follow some people on Twitter. I'm not sure how Twitter mostly works. I don't use much. So if any one of us come up with a plan on how the Twitter works, like in Twitter, there is something called hashtag works. You have to tag to specific community or group or people. You can do that with the help of hashtags. We'll do that. And the third thing is create one WhatsApp group locally. Like I already shared one option, like you can create one WhatsApp group in a local masajid where you have 200 of people probably in one group. These groups will help you to convey the messages to them as well. So try to create one local group as well. More on this WhatsApp group I'll discuss later. But initially, I suggest you to create this one Facebook group and make a list of these things. In a couple of days, I'll be sharing the groups links. Will join, and also I'll see how we can post them in the groups. And this list I'll be sharing. And even if you make some list, you can also share those things. Maybe personal text me, that is better initially, because every member of the group is not active. So there's no point in forwarding the information to each and every one where you don't know who is in the group. Maybe someone someone maybe anti-Islamic is sitting in the group. Who knows, right? So probably there are few informations, like especially the group meetings, these things not really recommended to share. Of course, this video I have to share in the group, but I have to see how I'm going to share a little bit. I'll try to discuss on that anyway. I'll just give you some idea. Once we make up a team, probably then I'll show you how to make the images in a Photoshop with some basic simple tools. I'll show you those options, and probably after that next week I'll be showing you how to spread the videos as well. But meantime, this is the plan for the next 1 week. Create your duplicate accounts, one at least, everyone. I'll share this in the group as well. So this everyone will do. Mostly all the people will do. And mostly this editing team, this will be a specific team will be doing, because everyone may not be capable of doing that, or everyone may not be interested, but everyone can post, everyone can comment. I think we are spending more than 1 or 2 hours in Facebook every day. I hope everyone is doing, even I have to do because of my office work. And sometimes, you get deviated as well. So because of the news and all these things spreading. So everyone is doing this. So you cannot deny that part. Okay. So any quick questions? We'll quickly see. The last 5 minutes, we'll quickly wrap up these things.
So the meeting action item would be creating the Facebook account first, and then
Yeah, this for the next 1 week, within the next 5 days. Any questions, you can personal text me. Create a duplicate Facebook account, and I'll share the list of the Muslim groups. You can join them. Okay, that's the first thing, because this will be used for promoting in the later on part. In the promotion part, we'll be doing that.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. I'll share the details mostly by today evening or tomorrow, probably this thing. But meantime, create one Facebook account, and whatever the groups you can join those groups initially.
So you already shared the document, like the list of groups and all this stuff.
I'll be sharing that. I didn't share. I'll be sharing that. Mostly, if you post your email addresses, I'll send to those email IDs. If you personal text me your email address, I'll send to those emails. I'll not share these materials directly on that. Maybe the video I'll share, but not the information.
Correct.
That's something not shared. That will be shared only to the individuals who are actually working on this part. Okay.
Okay.
Fine. We'll stop here for today. That's it for this week. Next week, any questions, you can personal text me. Okay. We'll discuss. You can call me. We'll discuss personally as well. Okay. Okay. Fine.
Yeah.
So see you.
Thanks, Sikandar.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Assalamu alaikum.
Appreciate. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Wa alaikum salam.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.